Well, some leaders in Valdosta are working to preserve the history on the south side of town, which is often considered underserved.
Valdosta's south side is home to the Liberty Theater, the focus of a lawsuit because of plans to tear it down. WALB News 10's Brittany Blake shares the historical and cultural significance of that building.
The Liberty Theater was a product of the Jim Crow era. It was one of the first theaters of its kind in the South Side area, catering primarily to African-American patrons. The Palace and the Ritz Theater were mixed audiences with balconies for colored patrons. However, a city ordinance passed in 1940 banned mixed-race theater spaces. Historians say that for nearly a century, the South Side was one of the most economically viable neighborhoods in the city.
The part of the building which is facing Ashley Street was more successful as a business enterprise than the theater was. The theater had a sort of a spotty history of success.
Meanwhile, the complex's longest tenant, Liberty Club, was very successful, offering live performances from prominent performers. In 2007, nearly 423 private and public buildings were registered on the National Historic Register as the Southside Historic District, including the Liberty Theater building, which still stands after a structure fire in the 1990s.
This is really the core of that community's economic and cultural life for many, many decades, from the 1880s into the 1980s, for a whole century. And that loss is, I think, still very deeply felt by lots and lots of people in Valdosta, particularly African American people.
The private group that is suing the city over the Liberty Theater hopes that it will be preserved for future use and remembered for its past. Brittany Blake, WALB, your hometown news source.